Hey y'all, I'm Angela, and today was day 13 of NaNoWriMo. Definitely the biggest thing happening today is probably that I'm back on essentially a schedule. Right now, what I'm sort of aiming for is 1,500 words a day as my minimum goal, which will about get me to the 50K. And then on top of that, I either need to write for 2 hours or hit 2,000 words. So if I can hit 2,000 words in less than 2 hours, then I'm done. So far, it's going pretty well. Although it's been literally one day, so we'll see. The other thing that has happened is that I have fully moved away from just writing scenes, I guess. My last book I just wrote through chronologically, and we're not doing that now. In part, I think, because I didn't do enough prep beforehand to be ready for that. So what I did today was sort of somewhere between zero drafting and outlining or something. I was definitely jumping around a lot. I was doing a lot of sort of writing out what would happen in a scene without actually writing the scene itself. It was way easier for me to get words that way, and I think it's probably a better place for me to be because I'm still figuring out a lot of plot and a lot of world building, and especially world building to make the plot work, because there are sort of central problems in the way that magic works that raise questions I was not able to answer. And so I'm sort of thinking through and starting to get those answers, which is nice and does make me less interested in sort of the formal writing scene by scene by scene, because when I have done that so far, I've often been writing sort of while ignoring the fact that there are things that I clearly can't answer and that don't make sense. I also then went through and started finally color coding my scenes because I had been naming them with the character name and then the number of the chapter, but I no longer know the numbers of chapters. So we've abandoned that, and now everything is color coded, which is nice. Basically, today at least, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I have a much better sense of where I'm going, and I'm feeling more I don't necessarily have all the answers that I need to make the story work, but I'm feeling more I can develop those answers. And the other thing about sort of shifting more into a zero drafting type outlining space is that I feel less I'm wasting my time, because so much of what I've felt while I've been writing is that I'm gonna have to throw out and rewrite all of this stuff. So my first novel is called Project Harper, and my second novel is called Project Aeneas, because I don't name any things, and I have named things after the main character of each. With Project Harper, after my first draft, I basically had to rewrite everything. It sounds a little dramatic, but at least I'd say half of it was an actual rewrite into the second draft. And it made it much stronger, but having done that so recently, it was making writing this draft of Project Aeneas really disheartening, I guess, because I was I don't want to have to rewrite all this. Basically, as I'm shifting into zero drafting, I'm hoping that it's going to allow me to figure out more stuff, and that I'm going to have to throw out or rewrite less stuff. And I am still writing scenes, some. It's just messy and not coordinated, which makes me deeply uncomfortable, but I think I just need to live in the mess. Please feel free to share what you're working on right now down in the comments. I'd also be really curious to hear about sort of y'all's early stage draft stuff, what do first drafts look like? Do you consider yourself a zero drafter or an outliner? I'm just very interested in all of those things at this moment, so feel free to share those as well. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a little thumbs up. If you are curious about my nano fate, feel free to subscribe and stick around. And that is about it for me, loves. Happy writing. Be well.